John, I need that clip that goes like, "Get in my belly." I'm so full right now, man. I was telling Sean and Cece before you got in that I ate a Cali burrito
A what burrito?
and a Cali burrito.
Oh, a
Have you ever
Cali
heard of it?
burrito.
Yeah.
I know a burrito. I don't know what the difference between a Cali burrito is and a regular one.
It's too Americanized for you, but no kidding. It's like fries, carne asada, wok, tomatoes, pico de gallo,
Carne
and
agua?
you should have said bless you. But it's all of that wrapped up in one. And man, the
Wow.
carbs are hitting me right now. I was trying to be,
Can I?
So you're sleeping on the toilet tonight?
yeah,
Okay.
I'm sitting on it right now.
Yeah.
Okay. What's up, CC?
I saw a post on Reddit that was really funny this today, and it was, I mean, the topic at hand was not funny, but it was basically a pastor kind of like got kicked out of a library. By kicked out, I mean like they dragged him out of the library.
Nice.
And so a lot of people were like making comments about religion and what happened and all that. But the hilarious one was the only good pastor is
Yeah.
followed up by like al pastor.
Hell
I
yeah.
thought you were going to say he's pasteurized, but okay.
You gotta tag us on that Reddit post. That's funny. So, man, I'm so full. John, how's your weekend going?
My weekend's not going. It was, well, it went. It was good. Fast. Today is a pain in the ass because it's snowing right now, so we're getting more snow.
Wow.
Oh, man, it doesn't end. We had such a good winter, and then right when spring is upon us, boom, we got like 3 dumpings of snow. What are you going to do? Other than that, everything's good.
Did you see? I saw Jerry from Collective Minds. I think he was supposed to get he was supposed to get a statue, and so what he did, he cleaned up his whole driveway because it was full of snow.
Smart.
I was like, only us statue collectors do that kind of crap. Just instead of doing it for the wife or for the kids,
Yeah.
we're like, oh, our statues are coming, so clean up the driveway. Oh,
Yep, that's how it is.
Cece, how's your weekend going, or how'd your weekend go?
Good. It went by fast. I was off Saturday and then I worked Sunday. And Sunday just seemed like the first half of the day went by pretty quick, and then the second half it was just. So I woke up this morning. I felt like a train hit me, and my coworkers know because my full-time job is the one where I actually get to sleep in. I go in at 8, whereas my part-time job I have to wake up at like 4:45 to get there on time. So I walked into work like almost 20 minutes early this morning, and they're like, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah." Like if I hit snooze one more time, I knew it was going to be a problem. So I just got up. So, but yeah, it wasn't too bad. Nope, got a lot of stuff done on Saturday.
You know, it's funny you say that snooze button. I got new blackout curtains, and now like there's not one piece of one beam of light coming into my room. So when that snooze button comes, I'm like I'm freaking out. I was like, "What time is it?" Oh my god, it's scary. Those curtains are doing their job, but it's also like I don't know what time it is usually now. But it sounds like a good weekend, hard working weekend. Sean, how'd your weekend go?
It went really good. It was busy. I have a sports team at the school, and they had a tournament this weekend, and they had a lot of fun there. And on Sunday, my wife and I and my kids got to meet Austin St. John, who's the original Red Ranger, and David Fielding, who plays Zordon. So we were really pumped about that, and got some stuff signed. This
The
Lightning
Zordon
collection.
thing.
Yeah.
That is cool, man.
And then my Gold Ranger staff.
Oh wow, look at
Right,
you,
You
man.
can see it
Here,
right there.
I'll
on
make
the
you
side
big
here.
real quick. Here you go.
Jeez, this is a PG show.
I know. Someone was
So,
gonna say that.
really, really excited about that. Cool guy. You know, we always kind of talk about, me and my wife, when we go meet famous people, like, you know, we don't want to sound like too prying, like starting to ask all these questions, like, you know, I mean, yeah, he's working at the event, but you know, we don't want to be like too prying, I guess. And we were just like, hi, how's it going? He kind of related to us. We had our wagon started like getting real clunky and stuff when we were there, and he's like, oh, I remember those days with me and my wife, and pulling the wagon around and having to toss it everywhere and get the wheels right and stuff. But yeah, it was
what's
cool.
the wagon, by the way, for us people that
Just a wagon, you know, like a little kid's wagon to pull the kids around.
Oh, okay. I
So
thought that was like a Texas term or something.
no. But yeah,
man.
so we got to meet him, and today was a good day, a really good day. The kids were all pretty good, and played a lot of fun stuff, and yeah.
John, this guy says he gets like 22,000 steps a day. Remember when we were doing the step challenge?
Sean?
We got to Yeah.
Oh, I won't do that now. That's for sure. I was, but I can't. I'm not now. I'm not.
Gotcha.
You don't want to have any competition with these guys because they suck. They don't stick to the word.
Dang. Well,
Shots fired.
anyways. This was actually, I asked CC and Sean to pick today's topics. And CC, if you want to.
I'm chopped
let
liver,
us-
eh? Well,
Yeah. I'm sorry, man. If you want to let us know about this one.
Yeah, I was struggling to think of a topic just because I feel like we've covered quite a bit, but I'm constantly at odds with variety in that I think that I don't collect a lot. I know there are a lot of people who collect far more than yeah. So
Sorry, I was asking.
between that's cool because it's opportune to what I'm talking about, I guess. So for someone like casual who collects statues, now you have a WWE belt. Like, where does that fit in with statue collecting?
It doesn't.
Exactly.
Sorry.
So and you also collect hot toys. So I think it's nice to have variety, but then what sucks about it is not only companies are competing for your money as far as which company to go for statues, for 6-scale figures, for props, art prints, what have you, smaller scale figures. Now it's, well, do I put my money towards a statue? Do I put my money towards a prop? Do I put my money towards an art print? So it's not, basically the competition is everything, as opposed to XM over Prime One over Sideshow over Tweeterhead. Like, as far as quality goes, like, no, like, it's actually your interests are also constantly at odds. Hence, all my Star Wars friends tell me to trash my Batman stuff, so I have more Star Wars room. And all my Batman fans tell me to trash my Star Wars stuff for more Batman space. So John's like, send him my way. I'll mess with him.
I'll fucking beat them up.
So I don't know if you guys have the same problem where it's not only about like trying to do your research and go with a good product, but also like what kind of product to go with for your collection. What makes the most sense for your collection?
I'll go first. So like for statues, for me, it's all about space. Like, I don't have that much space. It's like a small guest room in here. So I collected a ton of quarter scales. First, I started with these guys, actually. These are Bowens. These are 1/6 scale, so they're tiny. And then I jumped to quarter scale. But when I jumped to quarter scale, I didn't think about the boxes, the brown boxes. So I was like, let me play around with it, blah, blah, blah. Then I jumped to these assholes, the 1/3 ones. And these are 2 boxes for 1 statue. So I'm just like, and then I was like, let me start. I sold a bunch of my quarter scale statues to fund something else. And then I jumped to Hot Toys because thinking, less is going to be more. I'm just going to collect smaller boxes and stuff like that. And then, I don't know. Every time I keep thinking I'm going to slow down, it like quadruples. Now I have like a Mandalorian line that I'm collecting. And the only thing I would like suggest or advise people to do is try to have a focus. If you're collecting hot toys, Bowens, try to go like I'm only going to collect, well, if you want, collect like one line. So for me, I'm just going to collect Mandalorian for the hot toys, and for the third ones, I'm only going to collect the Justice League guys, and for the quarters, I'm only going to collect bad guys. It's not as bad as collecting everything else, but it's also like I don't know. I think it's like a. I know Eddie mentions this, like collecting. We have an addiction problem, you know. It's like collecting is like drugs. We have to get the next. We have to get the next. But also, it's like I don't know. I'm liking where I'm at right now, but I'm also at that crossroads of collecting these guys, these 1/6 scale guys, and the hot toys at the same time.
Also, to be
Right.
fair, though, drugs would be cheaper.
What?
So
Are you serious?
that's all-
You telling me now?
She's not
yeah,
wrong.
you're like
Well, that-
all this time and energy wasted.
Yeah, I'm like, oh crap.
Wow. All right.
I don't have to be here. I don't know if that answered your question, but like variety has helped me because now I'm a little bit in each world and I'm controlling it in a sort of weird way, or I'm not. But I'm trying to the biggest issue I have right now, like I said, like is collecting these guys and collecting hot toys at the same time. There's a lot of hot toys and there's a lot of these guys too. So they're smaller, but they're starting to mount up again. But that's my long answer for that.
And you started with the Bowens, you said?
This is my first Bowen ever. This is my first statue ever.
Okay.
It's like signed by Stan Lee, and I thought this was expensive when it came out. It was like $300, $400, and I was like one and done, you know. But yeah, then I started grabbing some other ones, and I got stupid.
What I like that you obviously focus is always going to be important, but I think especially if you want variety in your collection, you have to be even more focused than I think the average person. Because you're right, like you could be physically restrained as far as what you could actually hold in your collection, like space wise, as you said with the statues. But also, if you like a statue space, that's going to take up hot toy space. For me, it's like display cases that might eat up wall space. I have art prints, and I'm running out of space for those. So I think it's always like a balancing act for those who. And what would you say is the more common, that someone collects like one property or one character and one type of collectible, or do you think it's more of like the variety, like all of us, I think, collect more than just statues, more than just hot toys, more than just small scale figures?
Yeah, what I've seen, to be honest, is for statue collectors is a lot of them have come out of the closet by like saying, "Oh, I also collect hot toys." All of a sudden, you know, I'm like, "Where were you like 2 months ago, 3 months ago?" And you never mentioned it, like hot toys. But I think as statue collectors, we have like a closet that we don't want to talk about smaller scale, you know. But I think it's very common for statue collectors to have another type of collection in their
Yeah,
homes.
I think that's a bad stigma, but I think people are moving away from it.
Mm.
I think it's becoming more popular, and people are getting into the 6 scale and embracing it, which is good. Why not? In regards to this variety thing, this focus, it's tough. It's tough to have a focus and variety. It's usually one or the other. I personally, like I've said, that I want to go now towards more of a Batman focus collection, but it's tough. You know, I don't personally like to just set rules when it comes to collecting. So we're here supposed to be enjoying. At the same time, it can be a disaster without any focus or any line of sight. You just collect everything here and there, and then you wake up one day and you have a whole, nothing's concise, and it's just a room full of stuff, and then that's when you got to start selling. But I think if you stay focused, collect what you like, the characters you like, and if you have enough space and you can display them appropriately, then I don't think there's any issue with a variety in a collection, a variety of pieces, a variety of different characters. The problem is we have so much to choose from nowadays. so many companies, so many different variations of the same character. It's like, what rabbit hole do you jump down? You're purchasing one day, and then 2 weeks later, you have another company doing the same character. So it's tough. I think nowadays what's important is, when it comes to the collecting, is patience.
That's very true.
John, like you're like a collector from like you started collecting like 14, 16 years ago, right? Uh
2008.
whoa, whoa, whoa. But
Get it
like
straight, buddy. Get it straight.
yeah. Something I would have never guessed you had was you showed it off one day. John has the Hot Toys DeLorean. He pulled, he brought that out and he was like, I have this. And I was like, John, like you collect Hot Toys and statues and now you're collecting automobiles. He's like, yeah, but I got it signed. And I was like, wow, like that was an
That
awesome
was
touch.
fun.
But he was like, it was an awesome story behind it. But I would have never guessed you collected like those automobiles from Hot Toys. Those are huge,
I got them all, the Batman stuff, the tumblers
Yeah.
and the 89. Yeah, I love those. But yeah, that's the thing. I personally, I've always collected with a variety. Hot Toys statues, Iron Man, Batman, Terminator, Blade, Ghost Rider, everything. It was anything cool that came out, I was picking up. It's now, but that was before I hit 1/3. Now that you're getting into 1/3, it's, you got to pump the brakes and be more selective, and it is what it is. Sometimes I look at the collection, I say I'd rather have one piece that tells a whole story, as opposed to 3 or 4 other ones that take up more space. But it depends. It's nice to sprinkle everything within. If you have the space, it's nice to sprinkle everything within each other.
For me, it was more like I kind of look at it as tiers, and what's available to me for that particular character in the price range I want to buy at, or if it's even available at that time yet. So I used to collect pops, and I was like, well, this is a good alternative to get a character that's not yet in like 1/12 or something like that. What's up? You raising?
Oh no,
your
I'm
hand?
just saying hi to
Okay, I was
at
like-
COVID.
I was like, you raising your hand or what?
No. Sorry.
Sean thought he was at work for a second.
I know, right? Jeez. It's like PTSD. I just got home, man. Come on. No, but like I used to collect pops, and when I couldn't find a Marvel Legend that I absolutely loved of that character that I wanted, I would pick that up just as a placeholder until I found that 1/12. And then I kind of got overwhelmed with how many I had. So I started selling a lot of it off and kind of thinking about more impressive figures, whether they were like SH Figure Arts, were a little bit more expensive and stuff like that, going into Hot Toys and then eventually statues, and just kind of making those decisions. So like I have that PS4 Iron Spider back here, right? And that will probably be switched out for the new Sideshow Iron Spider,
Oh, it's a beauty.
So I mean, it's just what can I get that's more impressive now?
Got you. Well, a really quick question for you, Sean. Like, these are all accessible through like Target, Walmart, and stores like that. Like, how do you control yourself from like going to the toy aisle or whatever?
don't.
And okay.
Whenever
I
we
kinda
go to
figured.
whenever we go to Target, I go, okay, well, I just want to go down the toy aisle or figure aisle, and she's like, okay. So we go down there, and we're just checking stuff out, or she might go around to Target and just look for something that she needs, whatever. And I'll go, well, go down the figure aisle for me. She's like, you look for anything particular? I'll go, I'll let you know when I see it.
Jeez.
But it's hard because spending $30 is easy. Spending $25 is easy. And you start thinking, well, dang, I spent $50 today. If I bought another couple figures for $50 or whatever next week and the week after, well, you get yourself a couple $100 after a while. And getting up there in that Hot Toys range for being able to buy something and
It adds
stuff.
up.
So, but and the other thing though is that a lot of these 1/12 stuff actually have the license, you know. So like it's like you guys were saying with all the different companies who are doing a Marvel piece or a DC piece or whatever. You know, I know that I only need to go to Hasbro or I only need to go to McFarlane for the Avatar stuff or uh, Hasbro for the Power Rangers stuff. So I don't really have to pick a company.
I don't know if we answered your question, CC. I mean, like, is it too? Yeah, how much is too much? We just added to the plate. It sounds like. But what about you, CC? What do you think?
I agree with everyone, and I like what Eddie said about the social media aspect of it. I think that is kind of like I mean, I think all social media is a blessing and a curse because it allows you to connect with a lot of people and learn a lot of things, and then also it sucks a lot because you connect with a lot of people and you learn a lot of things. Um, so yeah, I think, and it's difficult to be like either on a low buy or oh, I'm just gonna wait till I get stuff in when you do have social media reminding you constantly of what great things there are out there. But it is interesting. I hadn't thought of what Sean said about like there's some licenses that are only going to be one company, so you're not competing as far as other companies go. And then someone else mentioned displays, and that's something that of course, we just talked about this in the last episode, but I've struggled with that a lot too because I don't think that having like Batman stuff on the same shelf as Star Wars stuff is ideal. But I think I'm going to try it and see how it goes. So long as it's the same consistent like type of item collectible, if that makes sense. So I'm working on a. Sorry, I sound like such a girl when I say this. So I also collect jewelry. I've collected antique
Oh,
jewelry for a
God.
few years now,
It's like-
and to talk about like collectors are always collectors. Like whether
Yeah.
it's and I like whether it's postage stamps or like model cards or whatever. Like I also collect. I've been told I shouldn't tell people this, but like I have a rock collection. I've always collected rocks since I was a kid. But I collect jewelry. I have a lot of antique jewelry. And so I realized that a lot of the kind of theme to some of my props was prop jewelry from movies. So yeah, I do. It's okay to sound like a girl. Thanks, Eddie. So I think so long as it's all jewelry from movies, I'm gonna see how it looks with having like a Star Wars shelf, like I'm thinking Game of Thrones shelf. So different types of so long as it's the same kind of type of prop, if that makes sense. Seeing if that doesn't look too busy or too strange, given they're gonna come from like different universes. And actually one of the things that I'm waiting on, I'm hoping it shows up today, is I bought the replica cufflinks from the Batman. So I'm gonna put
Oh,
them
nice.
in my Robert Pattinson display. And I think those are pretty iconic. I think everyone remembers this scene of Alfred giving those cufflinks to him. So yeah, stuff like that. But it is difficult, and I'm glad you mentioned the display aspect because that's not ideal when you collect multiple IPs and multiple types of collectibles. Because I think we're limited on space anyway. But I think it could look very cluttered pretty easily if you do a lot of that. It's a balance. I know like Steve with me over at Row 16, he does a great job of blending scales. So like hot toys with statues with props. And there's a few other collectors who do a great job at that as well. But it takes a lot of thought process.
Yeah, I'm horrible at decorating or setting a theme to stuff. I'm just really horrible at it. There's some people, like you said, like Steve from Rogue One. They have the same pieces I probably do, but like he knows how to like nail it down. While I put it right next to each other, thinking like, oh look, there's my collection, and boom. But if you have that like little theme going on, it adds another level to it. A really quick question for you guys, like talking about space and displays. Would you guys? I know we have our like display area for our stuff. Would you ever move it around the house, like the living room, the kitchen, the spare bedroom, or whatever?
If I was a bachelor, yes.
You're stuck in the basement.
My
pit.
wife strictly told me not to. She's like, "You will not put this in the living room anywhere." And I go, well, at least let me put it in the bedroom, and that was a whole
Oh,
thing, because my sons were my I had well, my oldest son needed his room, and my our baby at the time, he needed that room, so I had to move some of it into our master bedroom, and she goes, as long as it looks nice. So I had like 14 short boxes of comics on my side of the bed, and that display case down here with the Marvel stuff on it, that was standing upright, and I had a couple of statues on my dresser and stuff.
And this
How
is
about you?
so, man, I feel like singled out this tonight. So as a bachelorette, I could do whatever the hell I want. So yeah, I'm currently sitting in my living room, and in front of me is my Star Wars stuff. I have art prints in the kitchen. I have art prints in my bathroom. I have art prints and props in my bedroom. Like no place is safe. Basically, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Um, but, but again, like I live alone, and I've also questioned, and I do try to limit what's in my bedroom, just because I don't know what you've heard, but that's not a revolving door. So if it's something that I want like to display
whoa.
where if people come over they'll be able to see it, I try to keep it in this room, hence I tend to run out of space. um, but yeah, I've heard that a lot, obviously, that people are restricted to one room, and I think that that's why I kind of feel grateful in that I don't have to be restricted to one room, but then also the caveat to that is I don't have a room. I have to, like, and I think I said this about the display stuff last time, is I have to figure out how to make this work in a livable space. And the other, it's an older collection video, but if anyone's interested, if you're a big Star Wars fan, you probably know his name anyway. But Dan Shudlick, he's big into Star Wars props, and he did a collection tour on Rogue One 6 a while back. Like I wasn't on the, I wasn't a part of the YouTube the channel at the time, but he doesn't have a room. So he was showing stuff that was in his living room. He was showing stuff that was, he had a ton of stuff in his dining room, and it was detox, and it looked really classy. He has a partner who's also incredibly interested in Star Wars as well. I think he said she cosplays as Bausch, like Leia Bausch. Um, so I think that's how he's able to get away with that. But also, like seeing how he's able to have a dining room, but also collect, like put Star Wars items in there, but still have a functional dining room, was super inspirational for me, as far as like how much is too much when it comes to the collectibles versus like, hey, you need to be able to like walk around your apartment.
Eddie, Eddie, Eddie.
So actually, Jason made a joke of that where he's like, man, could you imagine like you walk into someone's apartment and you're like, look at all this stuff, and I'm like, what? Like, yeah, just what? Yeah, it's fine. I guess we're not gonna like Netflix and chill. I haven't had that be a problem, but yeah, it's I do feel for people when it's like, yeah, like the wife won't let me, or the girlfriend or the partner won't let me put anything outside this room or in a hallway or what have you. But I do think companies are almost listening in that regard, because like the, was it the Queen Studios museum line, like the faux marble statues? I
Hmm.
thought those could easily be in someone's house and be incredibly subtle.
Yeah.
I have my back's covering it, but you can see it between the two cabinets. That's
The the Batman.
Is that Beast Kingdom?
yeah, that's the Beast Kingdom replica memorial statue, and it's sitting on
Mm.
like a little marble table. So stuff like that, I think, and it's like a faux bronze. So I think they are listening and realizing that some of this stuff has to be pretty practical, and they're doing that with displays. Regal Robot, as expensive as it is, they tend to do very simple, like black wood displays, and I think it's because they, like, not everyone could have clear acrylic or crazy bases. I prefer museum bases on statues, for that reason. But yeah,
So I live in a 3-bedroom townhouse, and this is the one room I use for my statue displays, and I've been thinking about moving these guys to my downstairs living room. But I don't know. It doesn't. When I come into this room, I feel like this is my museum room, or this is like my man cave or whatever. But like, if I start spreading them out, I feel like there's more chances of my cat
I
destroying
was
these
about to
things.
say, you hang that thing.
Yeah, or more chances of like my nephew that one time he came over and pulled one of the statues, and I feel like there's more chances of other people like touching my my statue. It's not bad, but it's also like it's more secure in here and doesn't. I don't know. I should just spread them out though. I think these will look class. These small ones at least will look classy around the house, but I'm kind of fearful of that.
Well, there's also it wouldn't be cost effective if you have a lot of those Bowens, but it's funny. Dan showed like that collector I just mentioned. He was showing off his collection, and he had a photo. I think it was a TIE fighter model, and he had an acrylic case over it. Well, the cat's favorite spot to sleep was on top of that acrylic case because it was like the
Yeah.
highest point in their dining room or whatever, so the cat could like look on everyone in judgment. So yeah, I think it would only, but the way I see it is, again, like a blessing and a curse. I have more opportunities to display things in different ways because it's spread out through the house. So like if you put those Bowens in the living room, that frees up space in the man cave. Whereas I think I'm just very selfish. I like the idea that my whole apartment is my cave. Like I don't have to. It's I'm a maximalist at heart, so it's like more is more and less is a cop out. So like the more art prints, the better. Yeah, like no wall space left unattended to. But yeah, I could see it being at least you have a larger space. So I'm in a 900 square foot condo, so it's a bit challenging.
But saying that, if you had like the same space I did, I feel like you would use every single room for everything. So I don't know. Yeah. Well, Cece, thanks for the topic. Does anybody else have anything to add to this one? By chance? No.
That was a good topic.
Sean brought this one up. If you want to go with this really quick, Sean.
Yeah. Mine was what was the evolution of your collection? Like, where'd you start? Where did it end up? And what's the future for your collection?
Great question.
Anybody want to start?
Anybody going? Huh? I'll go. You
I
want me to go?
assume Steve was
go.
going to start.
Steve, yeah, go ahead. You're the captain.
So for me, the evolution of my collection, I think I explained a little bit of it, like starting out with the Bowens and stuff. I would say it changed dramatically. Like, of course, it all started during COVID. Like COVID, I think I was bored. I was working from home like 24/7. My hours were like 20 hours a day. So I was like, I need something to distract me. I think I've been a collector like from ever since I started like being able to buy things, like I started collecting this Bowen. It like, of course, evolved into other statues, but I don't know if it's an evolution because I'm still collecting statues, but I feel like the evolution would be when I start collecting one-to-one stuff. That'd be like the ultimate tier. But I don't think it's gonna get there. I hope to God, like what day is it today? February 27th. Like I hope to God it's not gonna get there. One-to-one would kill me and would like terrify me. But it's definitely just been statues ever since. And actually I don't know if it's an evolution either, but Hot Toys. Hot Toys is a lot of fun, to be honest. Hot Toys reminds me of like, when I was a kid playing with toys, you could, pose them and everything and make them fight and everything. But like, I don't know, man. Like, and also I didn't mention, I have a collection of CGCs that I have. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that adds on to it, but man, like it's a forever ongoing thing with me. I think one thing I gotta say real quick, I don't think I'll ever sell all of my stuff. Maybe like 90% of it, but I'll keep like 2 or 3 pieces just because.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned comics because I think all of us collect comics at a little bit at least. I thought I had them. Oh yeah, I do have them right here. So I decided to just stack my CGCs up, and I'm like at 10 or 11. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
me
how did this
too.
happen? Like it, like I didn't plan this. So I
You know how
blame
it happened.
yeah I blame Danny and
Yeah, I was looking for his
especially
name.
it's like
Uh,
he starts
There he
you on those
goes.
there he
nine points, and
is.
then yeah, he said he was working.
Uh,
Um, John, I think you're going to say something, otherwise I'll go.
No, please go ahead.
So as far as the evolution of collecting, I think if you're a collector, you've always been a collector. It's just whether or not you've collected the same thing the whole time. So like I said, it started with rocks, antique jewelry. I've always loved props just because I think the epitome of, say, like having a bat cave is, to me, having stuff that looks like it would be in an actual bat cave, or like Thrawn's office as far as artifacts go, as opposed to like statues of Batman or Thrawn. I've obviously changed my mind because I have statues of both of them. But um, yeah, it started with the props, and before I owned a lightsaber or a helmet, I always wanted helmets. I actually recently found my wish list, and it's probably like 6 years old, but it basically had like all of the props I wanted to collect and how I wanted to display them. Some things have fallen off that list. Most of it I have, which I'm grateful for. Some things I have that are not on the list at all, which were what we joke about on Rogue One 6, once in a lifetime opportunities. So like those things you just couldn't pass up, but of course those are always happening. But yeah, I before I owned like a lightsaber, I had as far as statues go, I had I still have them, the black and white Batmans, which I think
Yeah,
are 1/10 or 1/7, and I still love them. I still appreciate them. I don't have any since McFarlane took over, but yeah, DC Direct. I had half scale cowls from the DC Direct line. They're actually still at my office at work, so I have managed to find a spot for them. Of course, always wanting to go with life size, but what got me into props was, and I was like trying to figure out if I could show one. So behind my shoulder, you can see I have like two badges. So the one with which way? Which way? That one
that one.
with the flag bar, yeah. With the award bar, recognition bar, is the Gotham PD badge from the Nolan trilogy, and then that one is the SWAT badge from, I think, specifically the Dark Knight. I don't know why there are two different badges. No agency I know has two different badges, but I started with those. I thought it'd be cool. Again, almost like the jewelry from movies. If I just collected fictional law enforcement badges from comic books, and so I have that shadow box. It's in my office at work, and I've always worked on one for like specific sci-fi related badges. This one's not done. I just need to put Harrison Ford's picture in it, but it's white bronze. It just needs to be polished. Um, this is the original Blade Runner replica badge that I have.
Oh, I love that movie.
So it
Yeah.
was so like uh, low quality that they literally just like taped a photo in here and poured resin on it. So that's the only thing that this is missing. But yeah, so I started with those, and then it went to lightsabers, and then it went to helmets, and it's kind of been downhill ever since. But at least I think, and I've had people say that they appreciate that I'm focused, but at least I think it's just because I'm stubborn. When I like something. And I told myself for the longest time I did not want to be a statue collector. I'm still saying I don't want to be a statue collector. I want like maybe a handful that I really, really love, and that's it. Like I don't want to have a constantly rotating collection. Not that there's anything wrong with that for people. To me, that's just a lot of time, energy, money. I think I'm lucky. I get what I like, and I don't fall out of love with it really easily. Um,
That's rare.
yeah. And then, of course, art prints. I've collected art prints a little longer than I've collected prop replicas. I'd say it would be about the same time, like 2014, 2015. I think art prints, it was 2015. Um, and then I think there's something else I was going to say about that as far as the art prints go. That's been, I think, the most consistent thing that I've collected. Oh, you mentioned COVID. So I think COVID changed a lot of people well, in obvious ways. Uh, it was a bit traumatic, and we're all just ignoring that part. But when it came to collections, people spent a lot of time at home thinking about their homes and what they had. And, um, I think a lot of us had a lot of time to think about our collections. And I found a lot of the collecting community because of COVID. I followed Rad Titan because they had man cave tours for years, but live streams weren't a thing when I started following them. So it wasn't until COVID that I actually saw be able like the live streaming and the Facebook groups and stuff like that. But it really 2020 also kicked off for me because it was my first time living alone. So I collect a lot of stuff. I didn't always have the opportunity to display everything. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. Oh, so almost like reverse enabling. I bought an art print that I'd convinced Eddie to get a long time ago. I bought the Hellboy, the Drew Struzan Hellboy
Oh,
art
that's
print that's on
yeah.
Sideshow. So if that makes you feel any better, Eddie. Um, but yeah, I think, and also I'm gonna be honest with you, like money was a factor. So everything we collect is a luxury. We don't need this to survive or to live. Like we need a roof over our heads above anything else. But um, my income's quadrupled in the last like 3 or 4 years. So I was able to like slowly collect things, and art prints were not terribly expensive, at least when you got them retail. Um, Now, where do I see my collecting going in the future? Given um, I've been fortunate enough, my circumstances have changed quite a bit in the last few years. Um, I I could see me getting more into original art. I'd rather not because
Whoa,
it's
yeah, those are expensive. Yeah.
but at least like not all artists are terribly expensive. Just looking into commissions, they're just also time consuming. So um, even if it's an artist who doesn't charge a lot, it is one person, so you could be waiting quite a bit. But props are like that as well. So as far as evolution, I think that going forward, I'd like to. I've been trying this for a while. Is the less is more approach. I rather have like one thing that's of like crazy quality or um, something I don't think would be easy to get in a few years versus having a lot of smaller things that don't mean as much to me. Um, yeah, so like quality over quantity, I guess, is the way I'm trying to go. But also, I don't feel guilty about passing on something because I like one of the things I feel like I'm rambling. Sorry. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. But um, I have a melted Vader helmet, and
It's that hot in
it's.
there?
I'm sorry.
I said it's that hot in there? It melted? Wow.
It's. I think my version is from like Rise of Skywalker. So it was a shit movie, but like the helmet's amazing. So an artist on the replica prop forum did 3 runs of this helmet. So the first run I want to say was like after the Force Awakens, and it was I think like $300, 300 or 250. At the time, I was like, I can't afford it, so I missed out on the first version. Second one, I think I could swing it. I missed the window. Third one, I could absolutely pay for it, but I just collecting at the time that the run released was not my focus. And each run was a run of I think 20 or 25. So it wasn't like statues where it's an ES of 500, 1,000, over 1,000, several thousand. So I was pretty gutted, and they are they break easily in shipping. You don't see people sell them very often. But I was like, you know what? Like maybe I'm not into manifestation or whatever, but I'm like, I think if the universe wants me to have it, something will happen. It'll find its way to me. Either someone will sell it, or I'll see it, or I'll be able to afford it at a much higher price later. And so I did end up buying it. And it was, I think that was in 2020 that I bought it, 2020 or 2021. But it did feel, not that I was a child when that first run came out, but it felt like baby collector me having like a dream come true to finally get
Got your
that. Like, it came like
got your
full circle.
badge. Yeah.
Yeah, I got my patch. Yep, I got my Boy Scout badge. Mission accomplished. And that's one of the things that I joke, like, if my apartment was ever on fire, I'm trying to grab that at least. It's still like top 5 favorite things that I own. I'm never getting rid of it. I'm still really grateful to have it. But yeah, I think things, and John, you've talked about that too, where I think people, it's easy for them to look at collections like yours and think, wow, that dude's got a lot of money. But when you
Mhm.
collected for as long as you have, like, think about inflation and where you started, where these statues were maybe $300-$400 was a lot, and now the prices are talking. So I think, and I forget where we mentioned this recently, but it's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Exactly.
So
There's
you're not going to get a collection like that overnight.
no way. You hit the nail on the head there. It's not a race. I feel like we get caught up too much in YouTubers and streamers, and it's like a competition as to who can get the biggest and better and this and that. No, it happens in life with houses and cars and everything. That's bleeding into collecting, and no, that's not what it's about. You got to collect for you and you only, unless you got kids and that sort of thing. But you know what I mean, for yourself.
Sean's like, I feel attacked.
I know, right? Jeez.
I started back, like we were saying earlier, back in 2008, 9, whatever. Hot Toys, dabbled in statues, and that's it. I was stuck for life till today. I took a little bit of a break here and there. You know, life comes up. You got to buy a house. You know, stuff comes up. So you take a break. But yeah, I've always had a passion for collecting. I don't know what it is.
You said you started off with your dad, right? Your dad started collecting a ton of stuff.
Well, he when he was in his teens, he collected comics.
Yeah.
Well, not teens, late 20s. He collected comics, and he stopped there. Right, he didn't get into the toys or anything. When I was 15, he passed down the comics or whatever. But I collected comics here and there. But I transitioned into the figures and the statues over the comics. That's something that he never did.
You said you transcended? Is that what you said?
Transition.
Okay. I was like, whoa.
He didn't have that, right? Back there was Bowens and stuff, but he wasn't into that too much. So
Yeah.
that's when I came. I started with the Iron Man 3, the Mark 3, the first, holy mac, Hot Toys. That was like, Jesus Louises. You're used to this Toys R Us stuff. You're holding this Hot Toy. It's like, holy mac, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
Compared to what you see today, that's like, wow. But yeah, and it's grown ever since. You know, I've always been with the statues and the Hot Toys together, but now I'm kind of moving. I'm kind of getting away from the figure realm. I still appreciate them. I'm still gonna keep a lot of them, but I've slowly been letting go of some of them and kind of focusing on statue. I think mainly just because of the type of collectible statues offer. You know, I do like an edition size. I do like a little bit of rarity in a piece, and I see with the 6 scale figures just the way the business is being operated. I'm not a fan of. So I got to do what's right for me and right for the collection, in my eyes.
How about like the future? Like, how do you see yourself like just collecting the Batman 1/3 stuff, or do you see yourself also? Because like right now, the biggest talk for Hot Toys, I think, is the new Back to the Future car. Like, it's coming out. A lot of people are thinking of buying it or not buying
Yeah,
it, and
yeah.
like future, do you see yourself buying any more Hot Toys? Do you see yourself buying any more quarter scale stuff? Like,
I've definitely moved away from Hot Toys. I still will keep that door open. I won't cement it shut, but it's closed for now. I'll still keep all the Batman stuff that I have from them. Quarter scale, I'd get into quarter scale. I still appreciate quarter scale and would still pursue quarter scale pieces because you don't get the variety you do in third scale that you do in quarter scale, especially with when it comes to the rogues and villains. When it comes to comics, the comic accuracy in the Batman world. So I keep quarter scale open, but you got to understand, I've collected for this whole time, and I've never touched Prime One. I touched Prime One last year. Was it? Yeah, last year was my first Prime One. So out of all these years, I've known about Prime One, but to get them to where I am, it was just too costly. It wasn't. I didn't find value there. So I've been collecting Sideshow, Hot Toys, and so forth. And then you get your first third scale, and it changes you. It changes your outlook and how you want to design your room and design the collection. But I can see that third scale, you can only go so far with third scale because they are big. They take up a lot of space. If you don't have the space between the piece and the boxes, you'll run out of space quick. So that's where the focus has to come in.
Yeah. Yep. 1000%.
Yeah, for me, I started with Gundam model kits back in like
Oh, yeah.
2001, and I would build those on the weekends and just put them up on the shelf and just kind of let them sit there and let them look cool. Did that for a really long time, and actually got back into it when I got out of college. But from there, I got real deep into Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and man, that's a lot of money wasted. I feel like, you're always trying to get that good card and stuff, and do you go buy packs and hope that you get it, or do you just go buy it online and stuff like that, and then playing the game, and the game just kept changing and changing and changing, like restricting stuff, and I was like, man, I'm not having any fun. I'm losing some money, a lot of money. And that was right about when the MCU stuff was fixing to come out. And I always say that the Iron Man movie got me into the whole superhero thing, because I never was. I mean, I watched like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers when I was a kid, right? But I never watched like Iron Man or X-Men or anything like that when I was a kid. And that's where I started getting into the superhero stuff. And it wasn't until Guardians of the Galaxy did I want to start collecting comics. And when that happened, I got rid of all my Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I only have, I don't know, like maybe less than 100. But it's like my old decks that I used to have and stuff, and just certain cards I wanted to keep. And from there, I mean, I bought a ton of comic books. I stayed with the Marvel, and I was real about continuity. So I made sure I only got like what was the next story behind the one I was reading, and I just kind of backtracked and almost kind of almost like a historian, just kind of keep going backwards and reading the history of the comics until you couldn't get too much further back. Mm-hmm. And then just not really having time to read kind of got in my way, and they just kind of sat there. So that's where I started buying pops and figures and stuff. So and that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm definitely more into the figures now, the 12th scale. And what, like some of you have already said, it wasn't until COVID did it start kind of changing my perspective on collecting. And I started looking at statues and hot toys and how much nicer they looked, and if I just saved a little bit here or there, how quickly I could acquire it and stuff. So started getting into those hot toys and the statues, and I think for like the future, it's going to be more statues, I think. The issue is just going to be making space, and then slowly starting to get rid of certain 12 scale figures that I have too many of, like doubles.
I feel like that's a wall we all hit is space and
Yeah.
like funds for all this stuff, man. But like we know that's the at the end of the end of the road, but we keep going. We still like
Yeah.
I'm going no matter what. I don't know what's wrong with us, but yeah, it's two funny topics that we brought up today is evolution and then also the how much is it too much when it comes to variety.
Yeah.
We're all sick, man.
It's a bug, that's for sure.
Mhm.
There's this major figure podcast that I listen to. It's some wrestling guys. They call it the itch. You always gotta scratch that itch. So you want to get your next figure, your next statue, your next hot toy, whatever. But yeah, man, it's itchy, man. It's very itchy. But yeah, man, two great topics tonight, and I try to keep it under an hour today because um, give you guys some time. But did you guys want to bring up anything by chance for on these two really quick?
You guys stress me out with these topics now.
I know, I know.
Well, it's funny. We
I just
talked
want-
about like evolution and cutting back and what have you, and then like we're about to do an unboxing
Yeah.
on Collecting Weekly. So
But
yeah,
I do find it. You guys are right. Like, I don't think we're ever content. It's like you buy a piece, you don't even enjoy it for a
And
week,
it's what's next.
and you're already looking at what's next.
Mhm.
It's that's not healthy.
I'll tell you something right now. I got this Silver Surfer Bowen. This is like one of my grails
that's
of
a nice
all
one.
time.
You mean the mirror?
The mirror, yeah, I got the mirror, chrome mirror. It's straight up, just look at it and just shave and everything. But I got it, and I swear to God, man, I was happy, I was content. And then like I went downstairs, I went on my phone, and I was like, eBay, what are you looking at me for? I looked up eBay, and I was like, oh man, they have a Hulk. Oh man, they have a Juggernaut. Oh, like
It's ridiculous.
I need all these. Like, buy now, buy now. Then I come back upstairs, like, oh man, let me push you to the side so I could put
Wow.
more room for like the other ones.
You're like,
I was
it's like a Toy Story right here.
Yeah. And I was like, what's wrong with me?
That's why I like what Cece mentioned, like that black and white Batman set. Those can kind of fill the gap in between, because you can't. You can maintain picking up 1/3 every other day, right? It's unrealistic, or quarter scale even. But those can kind of fill that gap. In the meantime, whatever.
You know, I'm kind of getting some closure with this in-game display over here. You know, I only needed maybe like 3 figures max of to kind of finish the final battle charge and stuff like that. And I got one of them this week in this Bucky Barnes.
I got you.
Nice.
And I wanted this one specifically because it's probably more accurate to how he was in the movie. I want the SH figure art, but I don't want to spend the money on it. And I got that one for $20, along with the he comes in a 2-pack with Falcon, so I also got Falcon as well. But I already have the SH one back there. But all I need is the SH figure arts Iron Spider, and I can finish that out, which is kind of a good thing because we're so far out from in game that I'm almost like, well, do I still want to keep all of this stuff? It's super like refined right here, and I just put so much work into getting those smaller figures and trying to find somebody who was in the final battle to make what I've wanted, and I'm one figure away from it, so it feels good to kind of close it out.
Your end game.
When you get that figure, do you power up or something?
I sell it all and I buy one statue.
No, it's like yeah. But that's awesome. It's cool when you can complete a whole line like that, a whole collection. That's awesome. But then you can move on to the next one.
Yep.
There's always that next thing.
It's not fair, man.
It is what it is.
Yeah,
We work to live, not live to work, right?
exactly. I'm running into that crossroads, like I told you guys, with the Hot Toys and Bowens. I feel like it's fun to collect both of them, but I don't know. Like, I guess I'll ask this to you guys really quick. Do you guys think it's a good idea to start to collect both, or just like cut one off and then just
Some
focus
of those
on?
Bowens are actually really nice. You know, I was looking
Yeah.
early on when I was thinking about jumping into statues, their Iron Man line
Hmm.
is really nice, you know. And then you start seeing some more, and like their thing, right? I think the thing is one of those sought after ones,
Yeah.
and they just fit really nicely on a shelf.
So,
I think what's important is to do what makes you happy. If you find a Bowen and you unbox a Bowen and that brings you excitement, then that's what you should keep on doing.
Hmm.
yeah. Yeah, I got a Hulk. I got this like little guy. This they call these busts for like the Bowens, so they're tiny. They're hand size. I don't know, man. Like they're really cool, and they like John, you were saying they. I don't know what excitement like they bring me, but they do bring me some type of joy. But yeah, they're fun.
But
They're
you
fun to
wanna
keep on the desk.
you also want
Yeah,
to draw a fine. You have to sit back. That's the thing. Nobody can answer that question for you. You have to sit back, look at your space, look at what you enjoy, Marvel, DC, whatever it is, and you have to say, do I want to buy 10 small things, or do I want to take that money that's spent on 10 small things and buy one piece that would be definitive of that
Right.
Marvel or whatever?
yeah,
And that's
definitely.
where,
Though I do think it speaks volumes if this is your second time collecting the Bowens. Because even
Yeah,
like I think everyone knows like Batman statue collector, I think he had the entire Arkham line. He started selling them, and then he realized how much he liked them, so he like bought them back. And I've heard that a lot, where people like Steve did it with a maquette, concept maquette. He bought it, didn't like it, sold it, and then appreciate it later on. So yeah, I think that the fact that this is not your first go around with the Bowens tells you that they mean a lot to you.
gotcha. And Cece, one question for you. Like, I've always gone to Comic Cons around my area. Like, I've been lucky by going to, staying in San Diego. So I went to those Comic Cons and the ones around here, DC. I've collected art pieces forever. How do you do it with, like, I don't know if you go to those Comic Cons, but you have access to, like, all these sites that have all these art prints. How do you do it with, like, focusing on that? Because I'm sure, like, you go after, like, certain ones and you over others.
Well, I will say I used to be a lot better about it, and I used to be a lot more focused about it until I got things like a portfolio. So if there's something that I can't display on the wall, I know I could. It's a lot easier to hoard art prints that are not being uh, displayed currently in a portfolio than it is to like keep a bunch of statues still in the box and try to figure out where to keep them. So that's
wow,
that's not very practical. But with art prints, so I used to be a lot. Yeah, I used to. I used to be a lot more focused on that, where I didn't buy an art print unless I knew like exactly where it was going in my collection. But now I think I realize, because I have the space to keep them in a portfolio, I'd rather just get them when I can, when they first release, as opposed to finding them later. Because I always, like I said, like I don't mind find if it's something I like that much. I don't mind trying to find it later, but you're gonna pay like those aftermarket prices.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if I answered your question, but yeah, so I'm not as focused, and also I've always been that way with art prints. Like I can't have an area of Blade Runner props, but I can have a Blade Runner print, if that makes sense. Like I could find wall space for something like that, or I could put it in my portfolio. So I think that's where I've had not as big of a problem, kind of like venturing out and getting more than necessary. But I'm actually, we'll see if tonight screws up my entire collecting plan, uh, because I'm going to be opening up a original piece of art. It's small. I think it's like 12 by 15. But I don't want to spoil anything, but it's related to the Court of Owls, if that tells you anything.
You sound
So
like Joker when he says, like, all I need is one, or only, what does he say? He says, everyone just needs one bad night to, become the
that
bad guy
day,
or whatever. A
yeah.
bad day.
I think
uh,
I'm pretty sure that's from the Killing Joke, but yeah, that's me.
yeah. Yeah. Well, cool. John, Sean, Cece, thanks again. I love having these like talks because it's like different perspectives from different worlds. So hopefully next week we do another one. We keep doing them, but all depends on you guys. And if anybody else wants to join too, definitely welcome to join. definitely like to see someone from the card world come in one day. Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Pokemon cards, all that stuff. Because yeah, that I had all the Pokemon cards, and I remember the most expensive one I had nowadays is like $50,000, and my mom threw that away because yeah, because it wasn't yeah. Uh, God, I hate you. It's like
That's why they're worth 50,000. If everyone's mom kept them, they wouldn't be worth 50,000.
yeah, it was
Yep.
a first edition Charizard, and yeah, man, it's over.
So thank you,
Yeah.
Casual's mom, for throwing it out and making everyone else rich.
Driving the stock up. But yeah. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, and Wednesday we have a cool episode. If you guys are still here, Emil Carfong, a sculptor from the statue world, will be on Wednesday. So yeah, definitely stay tuned for that. I'm really looking forward to that one. But thanks again, you guys, and I'll see you guys see you guys tomorrow. See you guys.